It began like any ordinary evening. My wife sat on the edge of the bed, her face illuminated by the glow of her phone, while I lingered in the doorway, searching for words that wouldn't sound worn out. Finally, I asked softly, "Are you coming to bed?" "Careful," she replied, eyes glued to the screen. "I'm too tired." Those 3 words had become a nightly refrain, her subtle way of telling me she preferred scrolling through her phone to sharing the bed. I nodded, forcing a calm I didn't feel, trying to ignore the ache that came from counting the nights since we'd last felt close. I switched off the light and climbed into bed alone, listening to her footsteps fade through the house. The next morning Jenna arrived. She had been my wife's friend long before I existed in their lives. Bubbly, warm, the kind of presence that made rooms feel brighter. I liked Jenna, but there was something unreadable in her gaze, a mixture of amusement and something softer. That day, as my wife laughed at something on Jenna's phone, I noticed the ease in her expression. It was the first genuine smile I'd seen in months. Gratitude and jealousy churned in equal measure. Jenna stayed for dinner. Drinks loosened our conversation, and my wife's voice filled the house again. We laughed, remembered vacations, argued over trivialities, the early, easier days of our marriage. Yet amid the laughter, I noticed subtle shifts. Jenna's glances lingered longer than necessary. Her voice softened when she addressed me. She seemed unusually attentive, almost intuitive. Later, my wife claimed exhaustion and went upstairs early. The sting of solitude returned. Jenna remained behind, helping with dishes. The house was quiet except for the dishwasher's hum. She poured a glass of wine and handed it to me, breaking the silence. "She's pulling away, isn't she?" Her words landed softly but firmly. I attempted a shrug, but she persisted. "I see it in your eyes. Loneliness." I laughed weakly, but it was hollow. The truth pressed down. Months of sleeping beside someone who seemed like a stranger had left me isolated. I confessed, aloud perhaps for the first time, how invisible I'd felt, how empty the bed beside me had become. Jenna didn't interrupt. She just listened, her expression unreadable. After a pause, she said something that lingered. "You deserve to be seen." Her gaze met mine, gentle yet piercing. For a moment the air changed. A faint, almost sorrowful smile curved her lips. Then she spoke words that would echo in my mind for months. "I'm not tired." Time seemed to pause. There was no seduction, no playful tension, just unvarnished honesty. She didn't move closer or reach for me, she simply offered me a choice. My pulse raced. Every instinct in me wanted to respond, to bridge the gap between desire and restraint. But I couldn't. Thoughts of the woman upstairs, the one I loved despite the distance growing between us, anchored me. Jenna looked away first. "I shouldn't have said that," she murmured, retrieving her purse. "You deserve more than what she's giving you. Remember that." And then she left. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, listening to my wife's steady breathing beside me, wondering when we had drifted so far apart, whether she would ever notice, whether she would care. When her hand brushed mine in her sleep, I almost broke down, torn between frustration, longing, and enduring love. The following morning, my wife carried on as if nothing had shifted. Her cheerful smile, the kiss on my cheek, the casual conversation over coffee, it all contrasted sharply with the storm inside me. I wanted to shout, to demand recognition, but I remained silent, questioning whether she would even realize my absence if I walked away. A few days later, Jenna texted. Short, careful, "Sorry about the other night. I care about you both." I stared at the message before deleting it. Not out of anger but understanding. It wasn't about attraction. It was about someone seeing another person fraying at the edges and reminding them they still mattered. Months have passed since that night. My wife and I are still together, working through the gaps that had widened between us. Therapy, intentional gestures, and honest conversations have helped us reconnect. But sometimes, when the house is quiet and my wife sleeps beside me, I hear Jenna's words echo in my mind. "I'm not tired." They no longer tempt me, they serve as a reminder. Love requires attention. Neglect, even small, can erode the strongest bonds. And when someone stops seeing you, there's always another who will notice, if only for a fleeting moment.